here this morning to welcome some distinguished guests from the offshore wind industry to talk about the status of offshore wind today and where we are against the global targets that various countries have set. Really recognising that there's quite a shortfall from the IRENA 494 gigawatts needed by 2030, and we're about halfway there. We're going to use the Dogger Bank project as an example, where it was consented back in 2015 at 4.8 gigawatts. And research says that we're going to need about 90 of those projects, 90 more of those projects, to come anywhere near that 2030 target.
At Dogger Bank, there's a number of positives, a number of firsts. We start firstly with how it's grid connected. This isn't from shore. HVDC is going to be the first offshore wind farm to be connected, and it is actually right now the first offshore wind farm to be connected. I think then when you move on to the next asset is you're looking at the time, the Hallidad was the largest turbine and remains the largest installed turbine offshore. And again, you think about the supply chain, the processes from actually building that pretty much from nothing to actually a 13 plus megawatt machine that is now in the North Sea producing energy. So, again, the lessons along production have been huge. I think in terms of Seagreen, again, it was that innovation around the foundations, the deepest water, up to 60-meter water depths. Nothing has ever been built in these depths before. So Seagreen is now complete. We're delighted to have that fully operational. But most importantly, it has been the innovation around how do we actually build this? Do we go jackets? Do we do piles? And in the end, it was a suction casing design that actually really led that. So right across both Seagreen and Dogger Bank, we're seeing a number of firsts, which are obviously very supportive to mega projects across the globe going forward. And let's be clear, in terms of we're here at COP this week, and in terms of big projects, the world needs big projects. It needs to build faster, it needs to build more. So we're very happy to see Dogger Bank and Seagreen really leading the way in this innovation, these firsts, and helping drive the industry forward.
We must do everything we can to accelerate the build-out of renewables and to achieve that target. I think it's an imperative to fight climate change. I think COP28 had a very powerful message with this tripling renewables pledge that was announced just a few weeks ago. We as RWE, as a global leader in renewables, are committed to that, and we are investing billions to build out wind onshore, offshore, and solar. We think like a stable, incentivized market is the key to accelerate that transition. A stable market mechanism, stable regulation will enable us to invest in new mega projects, smaller projects. It will also give security to the supply chain, where we see at the moment some headwinds.
Over the past 10 years, we've been really enjoying price reduction brought about mostly by technology gains, by the benefits of industrialization, and by very low cost of capital. And what we've seen happen over the past year or two is that cost of capital has went up faster than it has in the past 40 years, and inflation has taken hold just as it has in every other section of the economy. And what that means is that the price we used to be able to do offshore wind at is no longer a viable price. And so the reality is, if we want to keep building offshore wind has to be allowed to adjust its price just like everything else in the economy. And what we need actually is to move away from this mentality on pricing, from comparing offshore wind to what we used to pay for thermal 10 years ago, to what value offshore wind is bringing to the economy: decarbonisation, industrialisation, jobs, energy security, and also what the other options are. Because 10 years from now, what will we be paying for energy if we don't have offshore wind? So I think offshore wind will survive this short-term crisis, but in order to survive, there needs to be a bit of a revisiting of how we value offshore wind and how much we're willing to pay for it.